بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه تسليما كثيرا. Right now, in actuality, my mother, my family back in New Jersey are all tuned in and watching this program right now because they wanted to make sure that things were okay here. They thought I was just making, kuntu mashihim fil kalam. They would think I was, because they saw all of the videos and things, and I told them, yeah, it was bad, but it wasn't like that for us. So, and my mother told me, well, I'm going to watch today to make sure and this and that. So, just wanted to say, as it relates to that, just want to tell you, brothers, the other day, the day before the hurricane and the tornadoes, we prayed Salatul Fajr on Wednesday. No, it was the day of the hurricane, which was Wednesday, right? Hurricane came yesterday, Thursday. It came Wednesday. So after the Salatul Fajr, Abu Asma, he came to me, and he had a real serious, worried look on his face. And he asked me very seriously, looking me straight in my eyes, and he wasn't blinking or smiling. And he said to me, are you ready for this hurricane? I said, yeah, I'm ready for the hurricane. What do you mean? I made Umrah and Hajj every year. Nothing Muzdalifah didn't teach me. Arafat, I'm ready. He said, he wasn't smiling. He said, I'm very serious. He said, did you fill up your bathtubs in your house? I said, bathtubs? I'm not drinking water from the bathtub. So what that got to do with the hurricane? He said, when the hurricane comes, the power goes out and the drainage also goes out. And it could be 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It could be really bad. You have no way of flushing the toilet and things. I said, oh. Which is a delil for young brothers, as we always say, the ayah of the Quran, قُلْ هَلْ يَسْتَوِ الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Are they equal, those who know and those who don't know? I don't know about hurricanes. So I have to calm myself down and I have to listen to what people are telling me. I said, no, I didn't fill those bathtubs up or anything. He said, you get food, you get water. I said, I'm going to come to the Masjid. I'm going to be right here. And the Masjid, inshallah, he just looked at me and he shook his head. So I looked over and the mudir, the director, he was looking at us. And he said, you better take this thing seriously. He said, you better take this thing seriously. And so it dawned on me that I had to make this dad. Mentally, I really had to get ready for it. I had to get ready for it. Because although I wasn't joking around and I wasn't being mutsahil, but at the same time, those hurricanes are not a joke. You have to be ready for those hurricanes. So what I did was, in my house, I put those sandbags in front of my house, and I had this guy, because he put the wood up in front of other people. I said, can you put the wood up in my house? So they had extra wood. My neighbor said, yeah. So I said, okay, I'm good. So I'm going to leave my stuff there. I'm going to come to the Masjid. But I'm only mentioning this to you, brothers, because I wanted my mother and my family to know that I'm with people who I have love for them. They have love for me. They were telling me, you better take this hurricane seriously. In the Quran with Nuh and his son, when Nuh said, come get on the safina, come get on the boat. His son says, Sa'awi ila jabalin ya'simini min al-ma'. I'm going to go to a tall mountain, and the mountain is going to save me from the water. His father said to him, La asim al-yawm min amrillah illa man rahim. That mountain ain't going to save you today. This ain't no Arafat, no Muzdalifah, Mina. This is a hurricane in Florida. So my mother was saying, and you want me to come to Florida? And I said, Allahumma naam. Umi, I want you to come to Florida. I'm going to protect you, inshallah. I'm going to protect you, inshallah. So I just want her and the many people who contact me worrying about, are you okay? Are you okay? Like on the day of the Eid, you have to respond to so many, greetings of Eid. I had a lot of those. I couldn't answer all those people because there's so much. So I just want everybody to know that we're all okay. Alhamdulillah. Kasimi. Allah Azza wa Jal saved us. There's some people, as I mentioned in the Khutbah Jumu'ah, they have blackouts and this and that, no electricity. But other than that, alhamdulillah, nothing happened. Second thing that I want to mention, this is just as important, is during the Khutbah Jumu'ah, I got a message from one of the brothers here, one of the students, one of the brothers. He said, I don't know if anybody else noticed, but you mentioned when you were talking about the adab of the hammam, akramakumullah, that you go in with your right foot and you come out with your left foot. Did anybody pick that up? I made it the opposite. And someone else just told me something else that I said something. Someone just told me. What was it? Yeah, I called it an earthquake instead of a thing. So I said to that brother, Jazakallahu khairah. I want to tell you brothers here, without any riyah, without any sum'ah, without any tasannu', manufacture, any fake taqwa, the statement of those people from the Salaf, Rahimullahu al-mar, ahdi ahda ilayya uyubi. I love that stuff. You can always come and tell me. Like, I'm not going to say, everybody know I meant it the other way around. I'm not going to say that to you. Everybody knew I was talking about a hurricane or a tornado. They all knew I wasn't. It's just the slip. I'm not going to say that to you. I'm going to say, thank you very much. I don't care who it is. I don't care what. Ali Baba, the little brother, comes to me. He says that to me. I'm going to accept it. Because the haqq is the haqq. And that's just how it is. So I want to always leave that door open for you brothers to always, if you make any mulahadha or something like that, you come and you tell me. I'm not going to give you a hard time. Not at all. The other issue is, before we were leaving, I don't know if you brothers saw, some of the brothers, father was wrestling with his son in the masjid after the salat of al-Jumu'ah. I don't know if you guys recognize that. Did you see it? Because you were busy. You were busy. I was sitting here and I was looking this way, and a father who comes here, he's a revert, mashallah. It was the first time seeing his son. Son was very muscular, and they were doing mixed martial arts. And they were doing it in front of the African-American revert brother from Newark, New Jersey, who's a sensei. He's an expert in that stuff. And he was watching them. And when I went to them to say, I saw you guys doing what you were doing, the reason why I didn't say anything is because there were not a lot of people in the masjid, and the companions, Ridwanullah alayhim, of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they used to do their celebration of their dance in Ramadan, and they used to wrestle in the masjid. So I didn't say anything. I said, but if there are a lot of people in the masjid, that wouldn't be appropriate, but it's okay. So I started talking to the father who I knew, and the son, invited the son back. I said to the son, you listen to the khutbah? He said, yes. I said, what was the khutbah about? He said, the khutbah was about, we shouldn't listen to the kuffar at all, anything they have to say. We shouldn't listen to what they say in the news. He said, we shouldn't listen to the non-Muslims no matter what. I said, I didn't say that, man. I said, I never said that. I said, what I said was, because of what happened with this hurricane, when they were warning us and they were telling us about what they predicted and expected, we all took it very seriously, and rightly so. This is really important, guys. This is the balance of our religion. There is a hadith, and I have to mention this. Afwan, ma'adharatan, Sheikh Abu Anas. I have to mention this hadith. Imam al-Tirmidhi and other than him, they brought this hadith, and it said that the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-kalimatul hikmah, ضالة المؤمن حيثما وجدها أخذ بها. That the word that's the truth or the wise word is the property of the believer. Wherever he finds it, he's going to take it. That hadith is very, 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 very weak. The Prophet never said it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He never, ever, ever said that, ever, ever, ever. But the meaning of that is true. The Muslim is the person who, if a Yahudi tells him something and it's the truth, we take it. That used to happen with the companions. Shaitan told Abu Huraira about the virtues of Ayatul Kursi, and he took that. That doesn't mean we go and learn from Shaitan or we make a ta'allum. No, we stay away from people of innovation, and we stay away from sciences and people going to make us crazy, because you don't want to go astray from the true religion of Al-Islam. It was not Isa ibn Maryam, Jesus Christ, who saved us today. Jesus wasn't able to save himself according to what Christians believe. They hung him on a cross. And that Bible says that anybody who gets hung on the cross, he is debased and he is cursed. And he couldn't save himself. He didn't save us from this hurricane. It was Allah, not Allah the Father, not Allah the Father, not Allah the Holy Ghost, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Most High, the one true God that Bani Israel believed in, that the Old Testament talks about. So as it relates to this issue, when these non-Muslims tell us stuff in the news and things like that, we have to take that stuff with a grain of salt, and we have to have filters, and we have to stay in the middle, in the balance, because some things you have to be suspicious, and some things you shouldn't be suspicious. Like this thing what happened with COVID was a bit of a challenge. This COVID situation, people's lives hung in the balance. We had some Muslims who were pushing this thing that it's a conspiracy and it's not true and this and that. And I agree. There was a lot of things that leave question marks and red flags. But it's not for any and every Amr, Bakr, and Zayd to start talking about these things when we could see with our own eyes people were dying. People were dying. People who we knew. My wife, by the Lord of the Kaaba, caught COVID. She was dying. She couldn't breathe. An ambulance came to my house in Birmingham. The ambulance came to my house. And I thought my wife was going to check up. And I was looking at my kids, my babies, saying, oh, wow. And then someone come and say, no, it wasn't anything. What? She was in her mind tripping? It was COVID. But did the government play with the issue? Did they politicize this? Yes, I think so. Pharmaceutical, yeah, I believe so. But for every Amr, Bakr, and Zayd from the Muslims to talk about issues like this, the minhaj is sahih, the real minhaj, is when it comes to people's blood, their lives, when it comes to the furuj, the private parts, when it comes to people's money, you better back up, brother, you better back up and not be so quick to just say fatwas, just giving out your opinion. Don't do that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do it. So I am in no way against science or anything like that. As a matter of fact, this first point I wanted to mention as a continuation of the khutbah. This is important because I don't care how much you get up there for the khutbah, people are going to understand different things in different ways. That brother's answer could have come just because he didn't expect me to ask him the question. When I heard the answer, I had to stop the young man and say, I didn't say that. I don't want anybody leaving the masjid doing something and then attributing that to me. I didn't say that. I mean what I say what I mean. If the non-Muslims in the establishment don't like it, as long as it's religiously sound, I'm not tap dancing for anybody. I'm just say that's what I meant. Like this hadith about the Yahud. What is the name of the tree that won't say, Ya Muslim, Ya Abdullah, Ta'al, behind, The Gharqad tree. The Gharqad tree. It's the only tree that's not good. By sharing that hadith, I was just trying to make the point that those people, when they talk about their theology and what they believe, it's okay in the media for them to say and do what they want. But when we mention something and it's just theology, I'm not calling anybody to go and do anything. I'm not calling anybody to go to Syria, to go to Gaza. I'm not calling anybody to hurt anybody. I'm making a point that the future is for Islam. Islam is for the future. And the people who have been oppressed, they are going to get their intiqam. They are going to get their revenge by the Lord of the Kaaba. They're going to get their revenge. But anyway, as it relates to the point and the issue that I was making, let us not be a group of people as a result of our iman and our aqidah. Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, Tawheed al-Asma wa Sifat, Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah. Those three aqsam of Tawheed should not just be theory and kalam in our heads. We have to know and believe and buy into al-wala wal-bara. We have to know and believe and we have to buy into that we are the a'la. We are the a'la, although we're weak right now. But the deen of al-Islam is the deen of Allah. And although the Muslims are not really taking care of the ahd that we should have with Allah, that we're supposed to have with Allah, and as a result, we're in this situation, but it's from the hikmah of Allah. We should never ever think for 1 minute that the way of the non-Muslims is the right way. But do they not possess some of the truth? Yeah, they possess some of the truth. They possess some of the truth, especially when it comes to science and things like that. So I just wanted to share with you, brothers, a few things as it relates to getting benefit from the non-Muslims is not against our religion. The kalimatul haqq or the kalimat al-hikmah is the property of the Muslims. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the battle of the Khandaq, where they dug the grave or they dug the ditch. Medina is here, we have to protect Medina. So they dug a ditch. It was right here, so that's going to block the non-Muslims who are coming from Mecca. They're coming from that way. Uhud is here. They're not going to come all the way around from behind Uhud. So they dug the ditch in a way where the non-Muslims would be forced, where they can see them coming and they can meet them. But the Prophet didn't come up with that idea. He, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, he asked the companions, what do you think we should do? 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 Salman al-Farisi, who was from Persia, said, Ya Rasulullah, what we used to do in Persia in situations like this, when the enemy was bigger and more in number, we would dig a ditch to even out the playing field. They would have to cross over the ditch. And if they cross over the ditch, while doing that, we'll be able to deal with them. The playing field is more even. He said, that's a good idea. So it's a dalil of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taking advice. We don't want a mudir in our masjid who doesn't listen to what we have to say and how we feel. He listens and he makes mushawara. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Then we make a decision. He can go against everybody's decision because he's the leader, but hear the position. Does he have to hear the position of every Amr, Bakr, and Zayd? New revert, the woman, this one is Majnoon, that one over there is whatever. You don't have to listen. What is that? That's Junoon. But we have to listen. That's why we have a shura. We don't have in the flourishing masjids, we don't have the Amir al-Mu'mineen, the Imam for life. Although that model, it may work for some people. The model of the Imam calling all of the shots, that may work for some communities. But for the most part, that formula could be dangerous. The Imam for life, the Amir al-Mu'mineen, people even give him the bay'ah. I say no. So that's a classic case of the Nabi of Islam, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, being humble. He listens, he takes advice, he makes al-mushawara. All right, what about as the husband? We don't ask our wives anything? And that's rajula, not to ask her anything? I'm an alpha male. Hey, just be quiet. No. We have to ask our wives. And that's what the Prophet used to do, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's what Umar used to do, the Amir al-Mu'mineen. In Islam, there was a woman who came and she said, Ya Rasulullah, this companion of yours, he married a woman. He married a woman who I gave her breast milk. I fed her. He's not my son biologically, but I gave him breast milk. Rasulullah didn't ask for another witness with that lady. He didn't ask for that lady, bring another shahada, someone else, someone who can support. Why? Because this thing of drinking the milk in al-rada'a is from the takhassus of the women. He just allowed that particular thing. On that battle, when they went to conquer Mecca, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or they went to make Umrah, and the non-Muslims said, no, you can't make Umrah. And they had ihram on. And he agreed, we won't make Umrah this year. He came to the companion and said, take your ihrams off. Companion said, no. Not in disobedience, like the Shiites say, the Rafida. And the Rafida don't want any khayf of al-Islam. The one who says Hassan Nasrallah is a shaheed, you don't know al-Islam. You don't know al-Islam. Those people are a problem. Our mother said to him, Ya Rasulullah, what bothers you? He said, I told the people to take their ihram off. They didn't take their ihram off. She said, you take your ihram and then go out to them. Once they see you without your ihram, everybody is going to yankadu. They're just going to do it. And that's what happened. He took the advice. So it's just not for the leader, the mudir. It's for the husbands here. We have fathers who are here, fathers, and we have teenage children. You don't take their mushawara? Who they want to marry? Who they don't want to marry? What they want to study? What they don't want to study? You know, there in the UK, the Muslims over there are suffering from a nur' of a takhalluf. A takhalluf is backwards. They're forcing their girls to get married. In 2024, the father married his cousin. His father married her mother. Cousins. So now Ali Baba has no choice. He's going to marry his cousin in a forced marriage. That's the situation in the UK today. And it's a hot topic. So the point here is, the top of the list, the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam took the advice of Salman al-Farisi, may Allah be pleased with him. And Salman al-Farisi's advice came as a result of something that the kuffar used to do. We're not against the knowledge of the non-Muslims. What is that? Who does that? Who lives like that? And there are a number of examples. But we want to move on. Another example is the Prophet said that the first, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the first naval army in Islam will enter into the Jannah. The lady by the name of Haram bintu Milhan, she said, Ya Rasulullah, make dua that Allah make me from those people. He made that dua. She was on that boat, on that safina. The Arabs weren't fighting in the sea at that time, but the Muslims learned how to fight, and they learned from some of those non-Muslims. When that battle, those people came and it landed, that lady got off the boat and she got on a horse threw her over and broke her neck and she died. You know who was the leader of the Muslims over that safina? Do you know? Close, subhanAllah. You are close to the hima, wallah. Yushiku and yarta'i. You are close to the hima. It is the son of Muawiyah. Yazid was on that. He was the leader of those people who were on that boat. And for that reason, some of the ulama of Islam, like Imam al-Dhahabi in Sir A'lam al-Nubala, which the book is over there, he talked bad about Yazid. He made dua against him, this and that, and then he mentioned some good things about Yazid. And he said, one of the things of Yazid, because of the ta'zeem of the kalam of Allah. Because when the Quran and when the Hadith says something, we got to get the program. He said Yazid was the leader of the Muslims who were with that boat. So those people on the boat go to Jannah and he's the leader of it. He doesn't go. So because of the hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, some of the scholars of Islam, they had a level of a taraddud and a tahaffuz as it relates to their tongues concerning Yazid, because Yazid was a problem. Yazid was an issue. Some of the things that Yazid did towards the companions and women from the companions, but he did a lot of good. Yazid really put a cap on the people of innovation when he came. He put a cap on that stuff, and he helped Islam to spread and to flourish. But there are a lot of points. We're not against the way of the non-Muslims in terms of knowledge and education. So we don't want our young brothers saying things like, I'm not going to go to the university. I'm not going to do that. We don't want our young brothers saying things like that. We want them to go to the university. If that's not his, it's not from his muyul, he really doesn't want, we won't force him, but we want him to have, ulul himma. Don't tell me you want to be a baqal. Don't tell me that. I want to be a baqal so I could sit in the baqala and just read that books. And Al-Albani, he worked with the watches. Man, I don't want you to work with watches. Work with watches as a hobby. And don't misunderstand what I'm misunderstanding. Zakaria was a najjar. Zakaria, the Nabi of Islam, was a carpenter. And that's a good trade. That's a good mihna. A carpenter, an electrician, working on cars, a mechanic. Those are really good trades. We want you guys to be brain surgeons, man, and astronauts. And we want you to be a neurophysicist, astrophysicist, and stuff like that. If you can do that. Aim high, inshallah. Second thing we want to mention, Ikhwani, concerning this thing is, the reason why we said what we said is that there are ayat of the Quran that warn us about looking at the non-Muslims and raising them up and believing in them. And these ayat show there's something wrong with your aqidah, and there's something wrong with your Islam if you're one of those people. Like that statement that the Arabs and people used to say, du'at used to say, they were maghrurun. They had ghurur for the West. I went to the West and I found Islam, and in the East I found Muslims. What? There are Muslims in Morocco, although there's Tasawwuf in Morocco. There are Muslims in Tunis, although there is Almania in Tunis, for an example. There are Muslims in Iraq, although there are Rafid and other nonsense in Iraq, in Egypt. The Muslims are over there. The Muslims are over there. What are you talking about? Their Nizam and their system, like after this hurricane, right away, the municipality was in my area fixing things. Right away. They were there. Tree fell down. They were sawing the trees off. Things were going on. And they told us we have to do our job. The HOA has to, but they were there taking things out. Before the hurricane, they took those big garbage cans. What do you call them again? Huh? The dumpster. They came before the hurricane and threw them away. Emptied them. Other than the day. Why? Because they get blown over. It's more work to do. Not in the best interest of the people who live there. In our countries, would that happen in our countries? We know how it is in our country. We know how it is in our country. But this, I saw Al-Islam with the non-Muslims? No. I saw them paying attention to some aspects of what Al-Islam supports. But Islam and the Muslims are in the Muslim world. And the Muslims who are here, we are the aqalliyat. We are the minority of Muslims living in a place where our deen is being compromised. Don't get that misunderstood and twisted. Does that mean I'm going somewhere else? Nah, I'm not going anywhere else. I'm not apologizing. I'm not a second-class citizen. I want my rights. Not only that, but we have the ability to practice our religion here. If you can't practice your religion, it's not permissible for you to be here. So some of the shabab, they see those ahadith and those ayat, ana bari'u min kulli muslim yujamil mushrikeen. I'm free of them. What is it, kafir? Not kafir. That's talking about the one who can't practice his deen. He made hijrah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his companions to Ethiopia. They were not Muslims. You go to the place where you can practice your deen. And here we have the ability to practice our deen, but fihi ma fihi. Fihi ma fihi. I don't want anybody to tell me that this is Islamic State. Because as I said, as I told you, you say that hadith about Ya Abdullah, Ya Muslim, Ta'al, is a Yahud. You say that in the UK, the dunya is going to come up against you. You can't even say that the brothers there, the imams and the people giving dawah, they'll say the J word. Yeah, they'll say, you know, we have to be very careful. You know, the J word. You know what the J word means? We can't even say jihad anymore because these people will make hajum on you. They'll make hajum on you. But alhamdulillah, I have to say this for my malahadat. There are more people who are mu'aridun to these people. There are more people who are coming out from amongst them was shahidu min ahliha. There are more people coming out saying, no, you people are not fair. You people are this, you people are that. People on an individual level where they're debating and discussing these things, and more like jabahat, more groups of people. But a lot more has to be done. And we're waiting for the Muslims to do what we need to do, not waiting for other people to take care of us. So let us take a look at a few of those ayat. وَكَثِيرُ مَاهِ. Ayat that say what? That we should not look at the statements of the non-Muslims and let those statements affect us or impress us on the hisab of the deen. Allah asked a question. And I want to ask you, which question is this from the questions of the Arabic language? أَفَحُكْمَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ يَبْغُونَ وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ مِنَ اللَّهِ حُكْمًا لِقَوْمٍ يُوقِنُونَ. Do they want a hukum of al-jahiliyyah? Is that what they want? A hukum of al-jahiliyyah? And who is better in giving a ruling than Allah for people who have yaqeen? Yaqeen about Tawheed, yaqeen about al-Islam, yaqeen about the quwwah of Allah, the power and the might of Allah, and the da'f of the khalq. Yawm al-Qiyamah. So my question to you, do they want the ruling of Jahiliyyah? Which question is that? Huh? Do you brothers agree with that? What were the three types of questions that we went over anyway? The first question is istifham. You want the ziyad of al-fahm. You want to know, ma'rifah. Kayfa haluka? You okay? Anta Muslimun? Are you a Muslim? Ask the question. The second one is at-taqreer. At-taqreer. It was read in Salat al-Maghrib today. Alaysa Allahu ahkamul hakimi? Yes. We don't say there, say bala. Every time one of those questions we say bala. Alam tara kayfa fa'ala rabbuka ashab al-fil? We don't say bala. We saw it. It's making taqreer. This thing happened. And so forth and so on. And then there's a question of at-tawbih. At-tawbih. You want a ruling other than Allah? By people all over the place? People who don't know how to even judge in their own affairs. And you can see inhiraf in their aqul and in their akhlaq and in their existence. That's the first ayat of the Quran that we want to mention. And there are a lot of them. The statement of Allah Ta'ala, Inna dhann la yughni min al-haqqi shay'a. How would you translate that? Inna dhann la yughni min al-haqqi shay'a. Doubt has nothing to do with the truth. Doubt has nothing to do with the truth. A shak has nothing to do with the truth. If you have any doubt, then be quiet, don't talk. Itfa'u al-hudud bish-shubahat. It's not clear. Don't do anything because it's not clear. It's a doubtful matter. Da' ma yuribuka ila ma la yuribuka. Don't eat it, don't drink it. It's not yaqeen. The kalima of a tawheed, from the conditions of the kalima of a tawheed is al-yaqeen. Munafin al-doubt. You can't be in doubt as it relates to Allah's uluhi and this religion. So these people, when it comes to the weather, and this is a fact, you just go and you fact check it. Every single day they have weather reports about a lot of things. We don't even have any idea about it. Weather reports for the airplanes, weather report for the firemen, because firemen, they don't deal with fires most of the time. They deal with non-fire issues. Every day there are people, their job is connected to the weather report. Every city, every state, they have all of these reports. The majority or a lot of what they're saying is not true on a daily basis. The people of that mihna know there's room for mistakes. They don't look at it as wahyu min as-sama. They themselves. There's room for error. And that's how the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam described the kahin. The kahin. The kahin is approached by the jinn. He gets in touch with the jinn. However, he does it. The jinn say something to him, he'll come out and tell the people 100 things, 99 lies, and one truth. The people will believe that one truth of that person. But 99 of the things that he mentioned was lies. But the people will follow him in that individual, in that one thing, the kahin. That's how it is. So again, the people who are dealing with this weather and these other issues that are mentioned in the hadith, because it has this to do with us. Someone in our community right now, his wife is pregnant, daughter is pregnant, someone connected to him is pregnant. The people at the doctors, the hospital, whoever, the GP, they say, your child is this and your child is that. So if they were to make the iktishaf and they were to say, oh, you have this possible potential problem, based upon this and this and this and this and this, we would advise that you take this medicine. Should we listen to that? We should listen to that. But we say, hold on, you're not my ilah. I want to get a second opinion too. Don't just take everything the people say, but sometimes you have to take that what they're saying because they're the people of the takhassus. فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. It's always these extremes. They don't want to take any medicine whatsoever because they're against big pharmaceutical and they believe big pharmaceutical is just playing a game on everybody. And then as a result of that, the baby's health, the mother's health is compromised. It's got to be in the middle. You have every right to say, I want to get a second opinion and a third opinion. But just to say no, just no, and you have no knowledge of the situation, and you rely on the tib and nabawi. Is the tib and nabawi the prophetic medicines? Is that a problem? Not a problem. But Muslims who are living in those countries where the lady doesn't go right away to the doctor in the first trimester. You go to the doctor in the first trimester here with the technology, they're able to tell you your kid has sickle cell. Your kid is this. The umbilical cord is around the neck. They can tell you things. So I'm not saying, because I'm telling you right now with these ayat, they're telling us we can't follow everything these people say like that. But we also can't be on the other end where we're in the dark and we're just following our own selves and we have a dhan. The adhan went off now. It's the adhan time. From those ayat, ikhwani, Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, الشيطان يعيدكم الفقر ويأمركم بالفحشاء والله يعيدكم مغفرة منه وفضلا والله واسع عليم. A shaitan, he promises you and he tells you you're going to be poor. They used to say to the companions, and those munafiqun used to always say a lot of kalam to make the Muslims afraid. We are afraid that we're going to be encircled by the da'ir. Are we going to get in trouble? The non-Muslims are going to get us. They used to say things like, Inna nas qad jama'u lakum fakhshawhum. All of the Arabs going to get you, so be afraid. And those things, when the companions used to hear it, and that was their environment, and that was their life before Islam and Tawheed and correct Aqidah came, they said, nah, they didn't listen to that stuff. And that used to increase them in al-Iman. Nothing's going to harm us, nothing's going to touch us. Illa ma katabullahu lana. We're not scared of you people. And this is one of the things that I find a lot of people were speaking on behalf of the Muslims, two extremes. One extreme, very rough, very tough, not reading the room, not having hikmah and having the proper siyasa. And the other one is the people who have a tamir and al-khawf. They're watered down. They're afraid and apologetic for being Muslims. So there are a lot of ayat, just wanted to mention that. Last thing we want to mention, ikhwani, was our brother had asked about the issue of how could there be any good in the wind of a tornado. We say whether we can identify that or we can't identify it, the fact that the Prophet said it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we have to believe in it. And if all of the jinn and all of the ins came together to be against that, we're going to say, nope, we're not with what you said. That example is very clear. That example of the Shams was Shamsu tajri li mustaqar laha. ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم. That sun is moving. That sun is moving. Science said, no, that sun is staying still. That's what science tells us. That Quran said, Ash-shamsu tajri li mustaqarrin laha. The Shams tajri in its orbit. And Yusha said, Allahumma innaki ma'mura wa ana ma'mur. Allahumma bisha ta'a. Hold it back. And Allah held it back. And the earth was still doing what it does, spinning on its axis and going around, doing what it does. So now what I have to do as a Muslim is just find out what people are saying so I can figure it out. As for, I'm ready to throw out what the Quran is saying and what the tafsir of that Quran is saying and what the scholars of Islam understood about that. Yes, it's an issue. Anybody who's educated, anybody who's a scientist, he'll say, what? It is a well-known fact. All of these planets in our solar system are rotating around the sun. Alisa Kadari? That's not what Allah said. That's not what Allah said. So, you know, you don't want to be a person who your head is strong like that, but you don't want to be a person in the other extreme. Just because Europeans said it, now Muslims said it, Americans said it, scientists said it, we say, now we got to come to figure this thing out. We have to figure it out. And that's how this whole thing is with all of this stuff. Allah mentioned in the Quran, Ya ma'ashar al-jinni wal-ins, in istata'tum an tanfudhu من أقطار السماوات والأرض فانفضوا لا تنفضون إلا بالسلطان. You jinn and you mankind, not just the jinn, not the mankind, all of you, past, present, future, all of you. If you can pass outside of the boundaries that Allah has made for you in the heavens and the earth, you know that ocean, you only could go but so far down. You guys remember that submarine that went down there? And the guy, can you believe this? These smart people, they're so smart. And I'm not making this stizza, but how smart can you be? You know PlayStation, they had a handle driving a boat like a PlayStation, driving that thing in the ocean. A real remote control. I would freak out if I got in that thing and I said, "What? You driving with that? Did you think I'm crazy? I'm not riding in this thing." And then it got to the area under the water where they're speculating based upon science. They said in a few seconds, like less than 2 seconds, the thing just crushed the people because of the oxygen down there. Those people, the scientists, mankind, the jinn were diving for Sulaiman. Mankind and jinn. If you can pass the boundaries that Allah has put, then go ahead and do it. You won't be able to do it except with a sultan from Allah. And here I'm going to say that they have all the sultan. Yarhamakullah. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that by any stretch of the imagination. Any stretch of the imagination. So since the Prophet made that dua, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, oh Allah, I seek refuge in the good of the wind, and I ask you for the good of it, and seek refuge in you from the shar of the wind, whether we... So I want to ask you, brothers, what is the good of the wind? Help me out here. لِنَجْتَهِدَ. What are some of the examples of the good that comes with the wind? The pollen. The pollen takes from flowers and goes to other flowers, and they get pollinated. And the food that we eat, we benefit from that. And that in of itself is a tremendous science, an ayah from the ayat of Allah. Good job, Akhi. You're a muhandis or a scientist. What else are some of the benefits of the wind? Yes. The wind pushes the clouds from here to there. And that's how the rain hits this place, hits that place, and so forth and so on. The wind, it'll make a hot day like the Nassim. I met a kid here today. His name was Nassim. Oh, those two brothers here from his first time here. Nassim. You're in the desert, or even now. Look how cool the air is now. After that hurricane, they were saying that the hot air was going to hit some other air, and it became cool, and the temperature went down. So Fajr the next day, it was nice. It was nice. The wind cleans the air, takes all this pollution and all that kind of stuff. What else? You, my man, what's the benefit of the wind? And clear up areas. One of the benefits of the wind is the safina, the boat that's in the ocean. The wind pushes it from here to there. And especially back then, especially way back then, and the Quran mentioned this. It pushes the boats, and the boats are able to transport food and different things like that here and there. Like the Safina of Noah. Carried the people from one place to another place with all those animals. So it's benefit. What about some of the harms of the wind? What are some of the harms of the wind? The wind can be a problem, brother. Wind can be a problem. Huh? Tornadoes, hurricanes. And when I saw the videos of Hanin and what happened in Tampa and this one, I said, we're in trouble. If this thing comes to us, we're in trouble. This thing is big. So that made me say, you better put these sand things down there and get out of here and just come and relax in the masjid and just take it easy, because those hurricanes were serious, those winds, and it's from the might of Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah Azza wa Jal, it's easy to destroy the people with that stuff like that. So the point is, there are ayat and there are hadith. From those ayat, Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, وَهُوَ الَّذِي يُسَيِّرَكُمْ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ حَتَّى إِذَا كُنْتُمْ فِي الْفُلْكِ وَجَرَيْنَ بِرِيحٍ طَيِّبَةٍ وَفَرِحُوا بِهَا وَجَاءَتْهُمْ رِيحٌ عَاصِفٌ. Allah is the one who has made you people to travel on the land and in the ocean, until when you're on the boat, there is a good wind that comes. A rih that is tayyib. It's a good wind, and it causes, and the people become happy as a result of that, and they move in. But then the storm comes, the asif comes, like what we had here. What is the technical word for asif and awasif? The asif and awasif. What's the technical? That's a hurricane or tornado. And what is asif? What is the technical? What is that? Just the wind, huh? Just the wind? A strong one, huh? So, as long as in the Quran we have good one, we have a bad one. Is there hikmah in why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the dua for the woman, oh Allah, I seek the good of her and the good that you put in her, and I seek refuge in you from the evil? Is she like similar to the hurricane? Is she? She can be, but not our wives. Alhamdulillah. Not our wives. Our wives are from Masjid As-Sunnah, and they're salafiyat, alhamdulillah, adilat, inshallah, sabirat, ghafilat, inshallah, muhsinat. May Allah Ta'ala yahfadhuhunna wa yusahhil alayhunna, inshallah, subalahunna, and all of that stuff. Make it easy for all of them. Cause us to appreciate them as well. Okay, Ikhwani, we have 8 minutes, inshallah. You brothers have any questions about today? I find it really gharib and ajib, jiddan, the ghaya. Gave a talk the other day, and after the talk, someone in the audience, well, I don't know what we were talking about. We were talking about Surah Al-Fatiha. I don't know. And the brother said, when did you go to Afghanistan? I said, what's the ta'alluq of that and that? I don't even know how to spell Afghanistan. You ask me that in public too? What is Afghanistan? What I'm asking you guys. What is that Afghanistan? What are you doing? We got to read the room, man. I have to read the room. So I just want to make it clear right here. I don't know how to spell Afghanistan. I know how to spell Uzbekistan and Tajikistan and places like that. What Afghanistan are you talking about? Anyway, you brothers have any questions about today?
Say, came to me, one of the greatest benefits we have calamities, hurricanes, things like this, that causes the Muslim to turn to Allah. Realize that only He can help you. That's a tremendous benefit, greatest benefit, all of it.
That's a big benefit. Just to repeat, at any time something happens to the Muslim, عجبا لأمر المؤمن ولا يكون ذلك إلا لمؤمن. Is the affair of the believer is amazing. That's only for the believer. If good hits him, a good win, a positive win, helped him to in the airplane, whatever, that's good for him. He gives shukr to Allah, it's good for him. But if something bad happens to him, a bad hurricane, whatever happens, then that's also, he has patience, and that's good for him. And that is one of the things to learn from this thing. For me, one of the biggest lessons I just couldn't get out of my head was the fear and the anticipation of a hurricane. How did those Palestinians feel for the last year? I couldn't get that out of my head. How did those Palestinians deal with the fear? And plus, they're exposed in tents, and not even tents, buildings that are about to fall over, and it's been raining there. It's been raining there. Just like other places, Sham gets rain, and they're in tents, and they're in the open, and they're in buildings that can fall down. How do you deal with that? No food, you need medicine, you need the hospital, you need an operation, your children are hungry, and you have the shayateen of al-ins going around being predators, looking to kill you. And if you're walking to look to get something, they can shoot you, just like that. So you're a father today, your children are orphans tomorrow, because they're trying to deal with Hamas. So that everybody's Hamas, what are you talking about? Anyway, we're going to stop here, inshallah. We got 4 minutes for this prayer. May Allah Azza wa Jal accept it from us and accept it from you guys. And may He subhanahu wa ta'ala, bismihi al-a'zam, help all of the Muslims and yarudu ila rushdihim, and help our brothers there in Palestine and the Uyghurs and the Sudanese and just all over the planet. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.